Hello, it's Dr. Rupy from the Doctor's Kitchen. I'm super pleased to be with you here today to talk to you about everything to do with food, fitness, nutrition, how to eat your way to health, and how to protect your health as well using what you put on your plate. I've just come up with a new book, 321 by the Doctor's Kitchen. It's 3 portions of fruit, vegetables, nuts and seeds per person, 2 servings per recipe, all using 1 pan. And we're doing one of those recipes today using just this 1 pan here that I've got with some boiling water, about 800 mils. And we're going to be making a recipe from my new book, chicken and mushroom ramen. Super simple, a perfect meal if you've just done a hot, sweaty workout and you need something to refuel you because it's got a good amount of carbs. We're using chicken today, but you can use a plant-based alternative that I'll talk to you about through when we go and do the recipe. But it's got loads of other ingredients that will help refuel as well. So let's do a quick whip around the ingredients and then I'll talk to you about everything. We're going to make a really punchy broth to sort of poach our chicken in. It's going to have ginger that we've got here, garlic, some chili, some dried mushrooms. These are incredible. These create like a beautiful perfumed liquor that you don't want to throw away. This is porcini, but you can use any dried wild mushrooms, they're fine. I've got some rice noodles, we're making this gluten-free today. A veg stock, you can use 2. I've got some just some mixed mushrooms here, some shiitake, some oyster mushrooms, king mushroom, but any mushrooms you've got will absolutely work. Some bean sprouts, some spring onions that are going to go really well with this. A whole load of spinach. There's 160 grams in this because we want to try and get at least a portion per person in this recipe. But this whittles down to nothing when you put it in water, so you'll see that. And so extra flavorings, I've got some miso paste in here, rice wine vinegar, soy sauce, or we can use tamari as a gluten-free option, and then sesame seeds at the end to make it all look pretty, and some more of that red chili. All right, so got our boiling water on a low rolling boil. We're going to add our dried mushrooms to this water. Oh, pop that in. And like I said, this is, you don't want to throw away that water. You want to use every element of that flavor that we've got going in. With the garlic and the ginger, you could finely chop it using your knife skills, but I find grating is really good for a broth like this, because you want to try and maximize as much of that flavor as possible. And you'll notice all the recipes that I've put in the new book are only using 1 pan, because I want to minimize the washing up. I want to minimize the amount of effort that you need to make healthy meals every single day, because not every day I feel like cooking, if I'm honest. Like if I've just come back from a busy shift at A&E, the last thing I want is multiple pans, you know, something in the oven, toasting nuts on the hob, you know, all that kind of stuff I'm not going to be doing. So I want to make sure that everything is streamlined as possible. And so you're maximizing the flavor in your pot as well. There's a culinary benefit to putting everything in 1 pan, because you're concentrating every element of your dish into 1 cooking vessel, so you're maximizing flavor. And it's all about flavor and function in the Doctor's Kitchen, all about that. All right, so I'm doing the ginger with the skins on as well, because the skins do have flavor, they have extra fiber, but there's no real need to throw them away. As long as you scrub them properly, they are a great addition. And you don't need to bother peeling. Again, it's extra time, and no one's got any time these days, let's be honest. So you want to maximize the amount of time you've actually got cooking and relaxing, especially if you've just done a hard sweaty workout. The last thing you want to do is bother with like tons of different elements to this dish. All right, so in goes our grated ingredients, and I'm going to go in with the stock cube, and I'm also going to throw in the miso paste as well. If you don't have miso paste, you can slop in a bit more of the soy sauce to give that flavor. You can add a little bit of tomato paste as well. That also gives a bit of sweetness and earthiness that we need. The miso paste goes in. And I'm going to give a good few cracks of black pepper as well. Put this to one side. Oh, there's some black pepper. Here it is. All right, in this goes. And we're going to add half of our chili as well. because we've got a big old chili here. So I'm just going to add half of it, again, to flavour that water. That's exactly what I want. And I need a big spoon. Here we go. Give this a good mix, turn up the heat, get that to a nice simmer, and we're going to add in our chicken to that. We're going to use all that water. So this is some free-range, corn-fed organic chicken that I've got. They're thighs, so they've got a lot more flavour. The dark meat's definitely got a lot more flavour. We had it boned and skinned because the skin will give impurities on the top when you're poaching it, and you'd want to skim off that water. We don't really want to skim off anything here. And the bones I've taken out, but use those for stock. And also with the skins, if it does come with skins, take the skin off, a little bit of salt onto a baking dish into the oven for about 10 minutes, and you'll get crackling, and you can crackle that on the top of this ramen as well. Very, very simple to do. In these go, so we've got a rolling ball now on our broth. This goes away. Clean your hands. Always clean kitchen. Whenever using poultry, always make sure you wash your hands. Okay. And that's going to take about 10 to 12 minutes to poach. Okay? And whilst that's poaching, let me talk to you about the rest of the ingredients. So, we've got our rice noodles here. I'm using brown rice noodles because those have got a lot of flavour. They are fantastic ingredients. They cook in literally minutes. Very, very simple to use as well. We've got our mixed mushrooms. So mushrooms are sort of like the forgotten ingredient. They're full of protein. They've got tons of flavour in them as well. They've got B vitamins. They do have specialised types of fibres which are really good for your gut health. They have these interesting novel antioxidants called ergothioneine, and those are responsible for a number of different benefits, particularly post-workout as well. So getting mushrooms in and a mixture of different ingredients is the name of the game. Bean sprouts, very easily accessible, very cheap as well. And actually sprouts like mung beans and lentil sprouts, even sprouted chickpeas and azuki beans, these are powerhouses of nutrition, super high in protein and lots of fibre, as well as those phytonutrients that you get from the germination process as well. So you're concentrating on a lot of those different things. And these are really good sources of vitamin C. So that's why we're going to add those right at the end, because if we were to put it in now, we'd destroy a lot of that vitamin C by the process of denaturing because of the heat in the broth. So it's about using different ingredients at different stages to get the different benefits of said ingredients. Spinach, enough said about spinach. I mean, it's really high in folate, vitamin K, again vitamin C, that's why we're putting it in a little bit later. This is all washed, by the way, I've washed it prior to filming. Again, we want to try and maximize the textural elements of this. From a culinary point of view, you want to put it right at the end as well, because you want to sort of get that vibrant green color rather than putting it in now, and you'll be left with a grayish sort of tinge, and it won't look nice or look horrible. Making sure this is coming to a boil. You can move this around gently just to make sure that your chicken is completely submerged. But already I'm getting all those flavors of the ginger, garlic. You've got the dried mushrooms in there, that's super pungent. We only use about 10 grams of dried mushrooms. Those will triple in size until you'll get even more bulk for the amount of product that you put in there. What was that? Oh, and spring onions. So spring onions, a lot of people don't realize that spring onions in general, shallots can be one of your 5 a day. It's a fantastic ingredient. It's got allicin, quercetin, these different phytonutrients that are anti-inflammatory. It is a very good ingredient to have after a workout because we need a little bit of inflammation balance post-workout. Working out is an inflammation producing activity, which is good in the long run, but in the short term it causes local inflammation. So you need adequate amounts of recovery to repair the strain, but also you want to litter your diet with tons of different anti-inflammatory ingredients. Lots of greens, lots of colours, lots of variety. This is coming up to a nice bubble now. I'll just show you in the camera. So it's smelling absolutely delicious. And we want to make sure that chicken is fully cooked. 10 minutes, we're going to take that out and then we're going to slice it and then put it to one side to cool, and we're going to dress the rest of the broth after that. So where was that? Yeah, so another aim of the game when it comes to nutrition and generally when it comes to trying to look after your health as best as possible, is to get diversity and variety into your diet. If there's one thing I could ask people to do, it's increase fruit and vegetable consumption, not because of a superset of certain foods like kale or cranberry or pomegranate or whatever is trendy right now. Variety is the aim of the game, because variety is what your gut microbes thrive on. And your gut microbiota is this incredible population of microbes as diverse as viruses, fungi, and yes, largely bacteria, mostly concentrated in your large intestine. And this population is responsible for digesting micronutrients, balancing inflammation, sugar control, creating neurotransmitters. There is a clear gut-brain axis as well as a gut-skin axis as well. So overall, looking after your gut looks after a plethora of different elements of your human physiology, your body. It's absolutely amazing. So a strategy to look after your microbes is to diversify your diet, because they thrive on interesting, novel foods that they haven't come across before. So seasonal eating is great, and making sure you're getting a lot of diversity in your weekly diet is a really good strategy as well. We try and aim for about 30 different ingredients per week. If you use 3-2-1 recipes every day, you'll get almost triple that. So really, 3-2-1 recipes are geared towards increasing fruit and vegetable consumption to the level of around 10 a day, which is actually what has been shown in the literature to be the most effective when it comes to reducing the risk of multiple different conditions. So really, it sounds wholly unachievable, but it's the equivalent of doing 3 Doctor's Kitchen 3-2-1 meals every single day, with a snack of like a piece of fruit or nuts as well. So it sounds hard, but it can actually be achievable on a budget and a time budget as well, because we're only using 1 pan. So 1 pan cooking is definitely the way to go for me. And on the subject of skin and gut health, we're doing a whole series of podcasts on skin health in general, and how not only nutrition plays a huge part in skin health, whether we're talking about acne, eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, other autoimmune skin conditions. But again, it really does come down to looking after your gut. So if you Google skin health and nutrition, you'll get a huge list of different ingredients that you should have in your diet. Things like vitamin A, zinc, magnesium, vitamin E. And that's somewhat helpful for someone who understands where the sources are. But then you'll just get a list of butternut squash, pumpkin seeds, walnuts. 3-2-1 recipes are geared towards giving you a great mix of all the different ingredients that are the most nutrient dense, that offer the best benefits for you. So, and that's what we do in the Doctor's Kitchen. So listen out for that podcast. It's a really interesting one. I'm going to check and see how our chicken is getting on. So our chicken is pretty much there. It will be slightly toughened because we've done it on a quite a vigorous boil. Don't worry about that, because when we take it out, we're going to let it rest, and then we're going to slice it up and then put it on the top. And again, that has a culinary benefit as well as a nutritional benefit, because we're allowing the proteins in the chicken to sort of relax and then sort of allow the juiciness to be maintained. Whilst that's going, I'm going to prep the rest of our ingredients. So the spinach is going to go right at the end, but I'm going to roughly chop that. These to one side. With the spring onions, I was going to put some spring onions in there. I might still actually, because we won't need all of this to garnish. So half of this will go in here. And I want some of that gorgeous allium flavour to come in. And then with my knife technique, by the way, I'm always doing a claw technique, and here is the knife, so you're not chopping away at your fingers or putting them at risk. You want to always curl your fingers in and then chop with your knuckles as the guard. And you don't want to take the blade anywhere near the knuckles. So that way you'll prevent yourself from chopping, and you can chop slightly faster as well. Okay, we're using up all the ingredients apart from the very small end here. Right, that can go away. Put some compost. Alrighty, see how our chicken's coming on. That's coming on nicely. with the mushrooms, so I've got, like I said, oyster, we've got king mushrooms here, some shiitake, brown button mushrooms will work absolutely fine with this as well. Just rip these apart. I love oyster mushrooms, these are like some of my favorite. You can literally just pop these in the oven for about 10 minutes with nothing on them at all, dry them out, then marinate them with soy sauce, maple syrup, a little bit of chili powder, back in the oven for another 10 minutes, and they become all crispy and gnarly. And you could do that in a different way to what I'm doing in a second, and just pop that on top. But the way I'm doing it today is because I want them to be rich. I don't want them to lose their moisture. I want them to be meaty in the texture. And actually, if you wanted to make this completely plant-based, instead of using chicken, you could use something like firm marinated tofu. So a lot of people don't like tofu because of the the sliminess of it, or it's not firm enough for them. But if you go for a firm tofu, you'll get a lot of the texture that you want. And also, if you get a marinated tofu as well, it's like smoky. It's marinated with tamari, soy sauce. It's a really good ingredient. So I'm just tearing these up, ready to go in a second. And with mushrooms, I tend not to wash them. I just brush them off to make sure there's no excess dirt on it. Because if you wash them, they'll take in a bit of the water and they'll go a bit horrible. So you don't want to do that. All right. And there's another mushroom called chicken of the woods that is really meaty, and they're some of my favorite. And the bean sprouts, we don't need to do anything for that. With the chili at the end, in the image that I've got here in the book, it's very finely julienned, which you can do. I'm going to do it for you here. So you can julienne them into little strands like that. It looks very pretty, but I don't have time for that. I'm just gonna, and I'm keeping the seeds in as well because I like my heat. I'm going to pop those to one side, and that's going to be my garnish. All right, I think our chicken's ready to come out. I'm going to put my noodles to one side here. These only take a few minutes to cook. All right, let's see how our chicken's coming on. Chicken looks amazing. Put this on one side. Woo. All right, chicken goes here. Thank you, Mr. Chicken. Okay, like I said, we're going to pop this to one side. This gorgeous chicken is going to have a second to rest, to relax those proteins. It becomes juicier, a little bit less tense, or less tough that way. In go the mushrooms into our broth. That is smelling absolutely delicious. Just take this last piece here. I'll just show you what's going in as well, because I know it's my camera's a little bit further away. But these are the mushrooms here. So I've just popped them in. The smell of this broth is absolutely amazing. Trust me, it smells so good. Those are going to take a couple of minutes to cook. The bean sprouts go in right here, and I'll get this out of the way. We're going to add a touch of rice vinegar. It's going to give that touch of sourness that you need. You can use something like a red wine vinegar as well. If you don't have rice wine vinegar, that's fine. And then I'm just going to add a tiny bit of soy sauce as well, just to add a little bit more colour and depth of flavour. I'm going to go in with a little bit more of black pepper. Okay, in that goes. And we want to make sure we get that to a nice boil. You don't want to overcook the mushrooms. They'll only take a few minutes, as will our nests of rice noodles here. So that goes in. And if you do want to use the rice noodles, you don't have to either. If you're looking for a lighter meal, that's totally fine. Now with the spinach, I'll just put my garnish to one side. This is done. The thing is, when I'm usually cooking at home on my own, I'm usually not talking into a camera, so I would use the opportunity when the chicken is cooking to literally just clean down my kitchen, and that way I'm obsessed with process when it comes to cooking, particularly when I'm trying to minimize time. I've just come back from work, so cleaning down the kitchen and making sure that I still have time to enjoy the meal rather than think about the washing up afterwards. All right, with the spinach, I'm going to pop this to one side, like so. Noodles of literally, they take minutes, no time whatsoever. And we have quite a dark, rich smelling broth at the moment as well. It is wonderful. I'm going to give this a quick taste as well. And the chicken will have cooked completely, so there will be no raw chicken at all once you've got this, and you concentrate all the flavour from that chicken, so you're not wasting any element at all. That is exactly what we want. It's salty, it's umami, it's got a little bit of kick to it as well. If you wanted more kick, you could add some chili sauce. In go our spinach, a few more of these spinach leaves in as well. Again, just about 60 seconds is all you need. Those goes in. I'm going to put in half of the bean sprouts and leave half to garnish as well. Mix this together. Oh, so good. So good. All right, we are ready to serve this up. I'm just going to grab a bowl and I'm going to show you exactly how this looks. Beautiful. Let me get a ladle. I'm going to try and get everything I can here. Some of these mushrooms, these gorgeous rice noodles. Whew. A bit more broth. If you're using different noodles, you might need to cook them for a different amount of time. Just read the packet and pop those in. If you wanted to, you could even cook the noodles separately, so they're completely cooked. All right. Okay, so that goes on. Turn this off for a second. Put that on low. That goes over here. All right. So we've got our broth, a little bit of bean sprouts, a bit of our garnish over here. I'm going to add some of the chicken that's cooled down, and we're just going to make slices of this chicken, just thin slices, so you get a bite of that wonderful infused chicken flavor rather than just boring poached chicken. You know, we've got ginger, we've got garlic, we've got miso that's infused into the strands of protein here. So those go on the side like so. We're going to add a little bit more of the garnish for that. A little bit more of our chili strands. Whoop. Our chili strands, and that goes over the top. And a tiny bit of sesame, and there you have it. Wash my hands. And there you have it. This is my chicken and mushroom ramen using rice noodles today, but it is a ramen. This is what it looks like. I'll show you what it looks like in the book actually, just to show you how it's pretty much identical, I would say. I mean, this has been stylized so you can see the spinach and the different ramen noodles here, but this is exactly pretty much what it should come out like. Only takes about 20-25 minutes, as you can see. It's so packed with flavor, honestly. It's one of the most simple dishes, but hearty dishes. It's got all those different elements of what makes food so good for you. Variety, fiber, protein, colors, quality fats, lots and lots of whole foods as well, minimal sugars, perfect post-workout, and it's great for a number of different elements of health goals as well. So I really hope you enjoy it, really hope you like it. Do tag me, The Doctor's Kitchen, at doctors_kitchen in all your recreations. Pick up the book if you like. 3-2-1 is the method that I think is going to be really impactful for tons of people, because it gives you a simple formula of how to cook meals from scratch all the time. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the kitchen next time.
Download the TRUCONNECT app.